Welcome back to the Football Don't Lie. All the other games are complete for week one, so we're going to go over each game, starting off with Thursday night. Tejas, initial thoughts?
I thought it was a terrific. The Cowboys could have easily won this game, and I don't think like the thing with the Cowboys is that they just didn't convert in the biggest situations when they needed to. They were kicking field goals when they should have been punching it in for touchdowns, and of course, Zerline missed two field goals and an extra point, which kind of cost them in the end. Uh, Tampa kind of got lucky. I'm not even gonna lie. They played well, but they were sloppy too. But I feel like Dallas could have won this game. And Lord have mercy on Prescott's shoulder. He threw the ball 58 times, coming off that injury too. It's kind of scary, but he gets some rest. And then when they play the Chargers next week, I think he'll be all right. But I'm impressed. But that injury of Michael Gallup for the Cowboys is going to hurt a little bit. As for the Buccaneers, I mean, they're the defending champs, and they can make all the mistakes like they made. They had four turnovers, but they'll still come out on top because they have all the talent in the world on offense, and their defense is fast. Ezekiel Elliott had nowhere to go all night long, and the Cowboys said, "Fuck it, let's throw every play." So I mean, it was a really good game, and I'm glad it was the opening game of the season. Um, couldn't ask for a better start, but good win for Tampa.
Yeah, hell of a way to start the season, and I think the Cowboys, like you said, definitely had a ton of opportunities to win this game that they kind of missed out on. But in the end, I feel like most people thought the Bucks would end up winning this game, and I think I was most excited. I mean, obviously for the football season to start, but mainly kind of to see how Prescott would play, and I was very impressed. I think everybody was. I wasn't really expecting him to play any better than he did, as he looked really comfortable in the pocket. And I was just so excited for him to play, so excited for him to obviously come back from that gruesome injury last season. And I think the Cowboys are going to be good this season. By good, I mean the top of the NFC East, which doesn't prove too much. But I think they're going to be able to make the playoffs. With now Fitzpatrick getting hurt for Washington, they've more of a chance here too. But I think the Bucks were mostly expected to win this game. Cowboys definitely had a ton of opportunities. There were some mistakes on both sides of the ball that could have been fixed. Like if it was a midseason game, we probably would not be seeing those. But it's the first game of the season. Everyone's getting back into it, and it was a great way to start off this NFL season.
I think this just displays how dominant the Tampa Bay Bucks are because I don't even think they played that well. Like I really don't think they played that well, and they still pulled off the W. Brady just did his thing at the end as he always does. And yeah, it was just I thought the Cowboys played pretty well though. I thought Amari Cooper had himself an amazing game. Dak Prescott really favored him. Um, and for the Bucks, I think they won, but like Mike Williams didn't get off. Antonio Brown was Willie Brady's favorite target, along with Gronkowski and a little bit of Chris Godwin. But Mike Williams did not do what he usually does. Neither did Leonard Fournette. So I think the Bucks can be a lot better. Cowboys can be as well. Obviously Gallup is injured now. I don't know what the status is. I know he's on IR, so we'll see how long he's injured for. CD Lamb had an okay game, but he could be better as well. So good start for both of these teams, but I do think the Bucks will be happier, especially because I don't think they played as well as they could have. All right, next game. Moving on to the Sunday games because I think that's all of the Thursday game. So let's start off with the Panthers and the Jets, Tejas. Panthers and the Jets. What do you think about that game?
I thought we should have blown them out. I thought a good game from Darnold and Zach Wilson had some very good throws, but I gotta tell you something, man. This Panthers defense is so good, and I know it's just the Jets, but they were all over the place. Like that first half, Wilson had nowhere to go. The defense was all over him. They didn't even have one drive. I think they had one drive total where they were in Panthers territory. Just absolute clamps. But and then in the second half, I think the Panthers took the foot off the gas and kind of let the Jets back in the game. This game could have easily been 30 plus to like 10. 30 plus to 10. It could have easily been that way, but the Panthers just took the foot off the gas. But otherwise, I'm very impressed by Sam Darnold. I thought he made a lot of throws. There were a few mistakes, but that is expected because it is week 1. Good win for Carolina. And I'm actually impressed by the Jets. I'm not going to lie. They played way better than I expected. Zach Wilson looks like he has a lot of arm talent. He just needs to work on his accuracy sometimes and his decision making, but he's a rookie, so we'll let that slide. But good win for Carolina. And I guess the Jets, they look okay. I mean, I don't expect them to be a complete dumpster fire this year. I expect them to compete in all their games, but good win for the Panthers. And also one more thing I wanted to confirm: this game just proves that CMC is also the number 1 back in the league. 9 catches for 89 yards. And 98 on the ground too. 187 scrimmage. I think he might hit the 2,600 yards Chris Johnson hit. I think he might break it this year if he plays like he did on Sunday. To us or Huddy?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. So, yeah, this game, I actually did not watch a lot of the 1 o'clock games because I was on a flight. But from what I watched, the recaps and stuff like that, I really thought the Jets played a lot better than a lot of people expected them to. Like, that's why I was like, a lot of people were saying take the upset. And I know they didn't win, but, like, they impressed me a lot. But, like, they ran into the same issues as they did last year. Like, their pass protection was not good at all. Like, Zach Wilson was sacked 6 times. I'm pretty sure Mekhi Becton got carted off as well.
Yeah, he did.
But, I really think that I was pretty impressed by Corey Davis, not going to lie. Not too impressed by Elijah Moore. Not impressed by Tevin Coleman, at all. I really thought he would be better than Ty Johnson. But I was impressed by Terrace Marshall, too. So I think the Panthers did pretty well. And Terrence Marshall, I'm pretty sure, solidified himself as the 3rd best receiver on that team behind DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson already. So he has a bright future. And then CMC played pretty well after being out for a year, basically. So, yeah, hats off to the Panthers, but the Jets impressed me.
Yeah, the Jets played well in this game. I will say, Zach Wilson obviously the main highlight. I mean, there's a couple. There's obviously Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold, 2 new quarterbacks on these teams that I was excited to watch. Zach Wilson played decently well, 1 interception with also 2 touchdowns and 258 yards. The running did not do too good. Tevin Coleman, Ty Johnson did not really play well at all. But I think I don't know if I said in a recent video, but I knew that Corey Davis would be able to show that he is wide receiver 1 capable for this team. Not that they will go too far, but at least just for this season, I think Corey Davis would be a nice addition just for, anybody's fantasy team or something like that. 5 receptions, about 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns for him on the day. So he's going to be Zach Wilson's number 1 receiver for the season. I'm excited to see how that duo turns out. And on the Panther side, Sam Darnold played well. I will say that 24-35 with 279 and a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey played very, very well, which was kind of expected. Robbie Anderson didn't really. He had 1 reception here for about 60 yards, which was his only catch of the game. So I think he should be able to see more receptions and targets coming his way soon. But McCaffrey, there was a video where I saw, or some type of website, something where I saw some type of hot take for the season would be that Christian McCaffrey would lead the Panthers in rushing yards and receiving yards. And through this first game, not saying that it's going to happen, but looking like it's very possible. Sam Darnold is getting very comfortable just dumping off to Christian McCaffrey anytime he needs. And if not, find DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, or Terrence Marshall Jr. somewhere in the field. So this Panthers team should be pretty good this season, but I mean, with the Winston and the Saints, that could be a whole different story, but we'll get into that later.
Yep. Next game we're going to be talking about is I'm pretty sure Chargers and Washington kicked off at 1 as well, so we'll start off with Chargers and Washington. I did not watch this game. Like I said, I was on a flight, but Justin Herbert apparently is the only QB in NFL history with 400 completions over um over his first 16 starts. So that is insane. Like the fact that he's already done that, like he's gonna have a great future. Like he's his talent is just off the charts. Um, but yeah, I was pretty disappointed. Because Fitzpatrick got injured. Taylor Heineke got in the game, but he wasn't really able to replicate his magic that he did in the playoffs. Um, yeah, and I really do think that the Chargers are a sleeper. I think the Chargers are a really good team, and I picked Washington in this game, but by no means did I think it was going to be a blowout. I would have liked to see Antonio Gibson do better, though. I want to see him do better for sure. But apart from that, those are my thoughts on the game.
Um, I thought Washington played a very good game, and they could have won this game actually. But unfortunate for Fitzpatrick. But I'm actually encouraged for both teams. I would say. I thought Washington played very well. I thought the Chargers played better. Obviously, Herbert looked pretty good. It was kind of a sloppy game. I'm not gonna lie. Not too much scoring, I would say. But I will say one thing for the Washington football team. Uh, if I'm Washington, I'm going ahead and I'm signing Cam Newton immediately. If Heineke has a bad game, you need someone to back him up, and Cam Newton is the perfect guy. And especially since he has the experience with Ron Rivera, I feel like it's bound to happen either tomorrow or Wednesday. It's gonna happen because they need a backup. Because I heard Fitzpatrick is probably season ending, but we'll see. But I'm actually very encouraged by Washington. I picked the Chargers to win this game, but good game from Herbert and Keenan Allen got going. So, good game for the Chargers. They have a test next week against that Cowboys defense, and I expect a shootout from both teams. But in a pivotal Thursday night matchup for Washington, which is going to give them division supremacy basically. So we'll see how that goes this weekend.
Yeah, a big game for Washington this week if they want to compete for that NFC East championship or title, if that makes sense, against the Giants. Those divisional games are going to make a big, big difference, especially in this garbage division if they want to compete with Dallas. But I had the Chargers also winning this game. I felt like it was a lot of people had Washington. Whoever was playing a quarterback, whether it was Fitzpatrick or Heineke, we saw Fitzpatrick go down in the early stage of the game, and Heineke came in, went 11 for 15, over 100 yards and a touchdown. He played very, very well. McLaurin played well too. Logan Thomas did, and no, I mean Antonio Gibson played well, but I'm expecting him to get more carries now that also Fitzpatrick is out. And like you said, I would not be surprised if they brought in Cam Newton to be a backup for Heineke, or even a starter at some point if Heineke starts playing bad, like you said. But Herbert obviously played very, very well. 31 for 47 with 337 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Eckler played well with a touchdown and 57 yards, and Keenan Allen was playing great. Same with Mike Williams. And I know when the Chargers signed Jared Cook, I said that he would be a good tight end for them. I know one of you guys said that he wouldn't be, but he played decent. 5 receptions for 56 yards, a reasonable tight end after losing Hunter Henry, and they've been playing pretty nice. And also, I watched not some highlights, but I saw some clips of who's the OT that the Chargers drafted?
You mean
Rashawn Slater?
Rashawn Slater, yeah. That was the biggest steal of the draft. Arguably, but he was one of the biggest steals of the draft, and he played great for them, blocking everybody from Herbert. So Chargers played very, very well, and I think that they should be able to beat the Cowboys. I would not be. That should be a nice game between the Chargers and Cowboys next week, but I'm excited to see what Herbert can do with this Chargers team this season, whether he can lead them to the playoffs, maybe. But yeah, Chargers win this one, and I did see this one coming.
All right, yeah, next game is my Lions against the 49ers. Obviously took an L. I watched the end of this game after I got off my flight, but I really liked how we fought, man. I did not expect this to be close, but I was really impressed. I thought Penei Sewell handled Nick Bosa so well. I think that was so unnoticed. he basically shut Nick Bosa down. Like Nick Bosa was not doing anything. And I hope that when Taylor Decker comes back, that he goes and plays on the right and Panay Sewell plays on the left because he's better at left tackle for sure. Um, but I'm telling you right now, like we would have lost this game if Patricia was in charge. So I'm so happy that Campbell, he's instilling fight in these guys. I was really impressed by Khalif Raymond, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Hawkinson did what I expected him to do. DeAndre Swift was on the bench, but that was probably because he was coming off an injury. But he looked pretty good. He had a nice juke, and the defense was bad, but I wasn't expecting the defense to be good. Obviously, Jeff Okudah is out for the season now, which sucks, but it's fine. Growing pains. I think I'm pretty happy with our offense. So 33 points. I think we did a pretty good job, as good as we could have done. I'm not mad at all. And I was not mad at Jared Goff's debut either.
So, I was watching this game. I was keeping an eye on this game slowly at the corner of my eye. I was like, because at half I saw it was like 28-10. I was like, this might be. I'm sorry, it was 31-10. My bad. It was 31-10 at half. I was like, this might be a blowout. San Francisco's getting away, and it was like 41-18. And I'm watching the Panthers game out of the right of my eye, and I see that they score. I was like, 16-point game, and then they scored again. And I was telling my friends who I was sitting with, I was like, bro, this Lions, they might come back, and they got they didn't get the onside. They forced the fumble. They got one onside kick, too. And I was like, oh, my God, this 49ers might blow this lead. Unfortunately, it did not happen, or it would have been one of the most funniest things that happened this weekend. But I'm very impressed. I'm very, I would say I was impressed by the way the Lions played. They showed some serious fight. As for the Niners, excluding the fact that they almost choked this game, they played very well offensively. I would say they took the foot off their gas. They took the foot off the gas, but obviously they played very well offensively. Deebo Samuel had himself a monstrous game. I think it was like 9 for 189 and a touchdown. Crazy stat, or 2 touchdowns, I think. Crazy stats. But other than that, I'm impressed by the Lions. That's the one takeaway I can take away from this game. And next week on Monday night, that is going to be a good game. Next Monday, when we make recaps, we're going to be talking about this game between the Packers and the Lions, because the Packers are in their own heat of trouble right now as well. And with the Lions team that played well enough, I think we might have a very good game next Monday.
Yeah, the Lions played far better than I expect them to. I thought this would be a blowout, and it honestly was through that third quarter. What the Lions were, the 49ers were up 38-17 going into that fourth quarter. So I'm looking at the score, I'm like, I should not really tune into this game. There's no point. And I see that the Lions kind of make it a very close game, a one-possession game at the end, but 49ers are able to keep it. I think Garoppolo fumbled the ball on fumbled the snap on the first play of the 49ers offense game. So definitely not the best start. We saw Trey Lance come in, make one pass the whole entire game, and that one pass was a 5-yard touchdown to, I believe it was Trent Sherfield. But Deebo Samuel had a game not being talked about too much. 9 receptions for nearly 200 yards and a touchdown. So great game from him, but also Jared Goff with a great game. Threw 57 times, but had 3 touchdowns. And the 49ers probably were not really going as full tryhard through that third quarter. But Hawkinson played well, just like I expected them to. Same with DeAndre Swift, who's going to have a pretty big season. But we don't really expect the Lions to go too far. Some people have very high hopes for the 49ers. To me, as a Dolphins fan, I'm hoping that they don't do well at all, because I think we have their first round pick this year. But I did expect them to win this game, and I have them being last in their division. So 49ers get a pretty easy win against Detroit, but could get harder throughout the season.
All right, next game, Seattle Seahawks versus Indianapolis Colts. Russell Wilson came out and did what I exactly expected Russell Wilson to do. Tyler Lockett, man, it's time that people put respect on this man's name. He is one of the most underrated receivers. Like everyone talks about DK, but Tyler Lockett, I'm telling you guys right now, he is really good. And then as far as the Colts go, you know, I think a lot of people expect their defense to do better. Their offense struggled a lot. Their offense really struggled a lot. But their defense wasn't the best either, and a lot of people expected their defense to hold, Russell Wilson and the Seahawks to lesser than 28 points. Like Russell Wilson threw 4 touchdowns, 254 yards. He had himself a nice game. Chris Carson had 91 rushing yards. He played pretty well as well. And then obviously Tyler Lockett went off. But yeah, man, Seahawks just did what I expected them to do. I didn't expect the Colts to win this game, but a lot of people did. So it may be disappointing if you're a Colts fan, but I think the Seahawks were favored to win this game for a reason.
So 2 points I want to make. Russell Wilson is in early season form, and I kind of expected this to happen, even though I picked the Colts. I thought the Colts were actually going to play better than, because I thought they were going to run the ball down Seattle's throat. But I got to tell you something, man. The Colts O-line did not play as well as I thought they would. I thought this Colts O-line was probably one of the best in the league, and they let Wentz get hit all over the place. All day long, Wentz was getting pummeled. I watched this game a little bit as well. He was just getting toyed around the backfield. Literally just getting pummeled and pummeled. But I expected more from the Colts, but I want to make one point about Tyler Lockett that you mentioned, Suhas. You say he's underrated? Let me tell you something. Tyler Lockett always has a few games at the beginning of the year where he goes insane. You remember that game against the Cardinals last year? I think he had like 200 yards, 16 catches, and like 3 touchdowns. Yeah, I remember that game because I played him in DFS. Literally won me like $10 that week. But let me tell you something. He'll also have weeks where he has 3 catches for 20 yards and does absolutely nothing. This is what Tyler Lockett is. He's inconsistent. Week 1, he had a very good game. 4 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. But let me tell you something. I promise you, within the next few weeks, he's going to have a few duds. But Russell Wilson is cooking. Kind of expected it. And I think he'll be cooking until about maybe week 6 or 7. And then he'll start regressing to mid-season form. And then the Seahawks are going to try run the ball with Carson a lot more. And they're just going to collapse. Because that's what the Seahawks do. So, good one for Seattle. I expect more out of the Colts, though.
Well, before Hudson goes, I think the reason why it looks like Tyler Lockett is inconsistent is because him and DK take turns being the best receiver in like a certain game. So like next week, it'll probably be DK. But I think that Tyler Lockett, like his ability is like really, really good.
No, but DK still had a very solid game this week, if I'm not mistaken. He had 4 for 80 and a tutty, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he had 4 for 60, but he did have a solid game.
About 60. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just think that they take turns being like the number 1 receiver in like certain games. I mean Tyler Lockett, yeah, he has some moments, but I think
Wilson just picks his spots sometimes.
Yeah.
Based on a matchup, maybe I see what you're saying, but like sometimes, man, it kind of annoys me. Tyler Lockett will have these amazing games, but sometimes he just doesn't do squat, and that kind of annoys me. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Hudson, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I think one of my predictions in the NFC or in our playoff or in some type of predictions for the season, I had the Seahawks, I think, going with the same record as the Rams, except finishing second in the NFC West. A bit of an overreaction here that maybe, obviously it's an overreaction, so don't go off on me. Russell Wilson continues his MVP campaign throughout the season and leads the Seahawks to the top of the NFC West. He played great this game against a top-tier Indy Colts defense, 18 for 23 with over 250 yards and 4 touchdowns. And like you said, Tyler Lockett, give the man his respect he deserves. Everybody's going off on DK Metcalf, who had a great game, but I think that Tyler Lockett played just absolutely great this year. This week. Bobby Wagner led the Seahawks defense by a ton, and Carson Wentz was to me the main highlight in this game that I wanted to see. And if you guys hear what I had to say about the Colts at some point in the past couple videos, I am very high on Carson Wentz and the Colts. Since he's been traded there, I thought that the Colts have a possibility of making the playoffs. He played pretty good. I think he fumbled the ball once on a scramble run, but I think he was 25 for 38, 251 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So definitely a great game for him with his debut in Indianapolis. I mean, going against a great team in the Seahawks. And I want to see against who they play against next week, if anybody knows. The Colts play against the Rams. Okay, so definitely not going to be getting off to a too easy of a start. But in week 3, they play the Titans, so that should be a fun matchup against a terrible defense. But I'm high on Wentz and the Colts for the season, and as same goes for Wilson and the Seahawks, I think that they can get far. And if, like I said, if Russell Wilson, we know how this usually goes, where he has that game versus an in-division team, throws 4 interceptions or something, and that MVP campaign all goes away. But if he can keep that up through the season, don't be surprised if the Seahawks are going up there competing for the Super Bowl in the playoffs.
Next game, Falcons versus Eagles. Very disappointed in the Falcons, man. I expected their offense to do better. I knew their defense was going to be trash, but I expected their offense to do better. And this is why when we did our QB rankings, I had Matt Ryan low, a lot lower than you guys did, because I don't think he's that anymore. He was good. He was good. But I think they missed an opportunity to draft a QB in April. I really do. Kyle Pitts is really good, but Matt Ryan's just gonna fall off, man. He's not that anymore. He's not good. He's okay. He's average at best. I don't think he's good at all. Their defense, I'm not surprised. Mike Davis, I told a lot of people not to buy high on Mike Davis in fantasy because I didn't think he was going to be the best. But I really thought that Calvin Ridley was going to do a lot better. Kyle Pitts was going to do a lot better. They didn't. And then the Eagles, Jalen Hurts played really well, but you have to take into account that it was against a very poor defense. Devontae Smith had a nice touchdown. Jalen Reagor had a touchdown as well, 49 yards. He looks like he's getting his career back after last season disappointing as a rookie. And I thought the Eagles defense was really, really nice. Big play Slay played really well. So, yeah, shout out to the Eagles.
I'm gonna say one thing about this Falcons team. They're a disappointment, like always. This is exactly I expected them to play well on offense, and because especially since I started Ridley and Pitts in DFS, I expected way better. This isn't their fault though. This is Matt Ryan's fault. He turned into Joe Flacco. Literally turned into Joe Flacco, became a check down magnet. Was looking for Mike Davis all over the place. And he was getting pressured all the time, and it just seemed like he had happy feet. And maybe that's because he played 0 preseason reps. Maybe he'll pick up the slack. But other than that, he looked atrocious. I was actually mad. They couldn't get anything going. And this Eagles defense is not that good. It's, in fact, mediocre. And Matt Ryan couldn't do shit on Sunday. And it kind of pissed me off. But this is what I expected a little bit out of this Falcons team. They suck. End of story. They're trash. And I expect this way for the rest of the season, and they should be back in the top 5 of the draft. Without a question.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the Falcons, they're coming off with their last season with Matt Ryan, and to me, it's pretty obvious they're going for a new quarterback in this year's upcoming draft, but he played well. I definitely expected far more from Ridley and Pitts, but it's the Falcons. You can't really expect much, especially when it actually matters in moments like this. But Jalen Hurts played well. Like Suhas said, it was against arguably the worst defense in the NFL, so he did play well, but it's literally against a scrimmage team, backup third stringers for the Rams. But Miles Sanders played decent. Devontae Smith played great. Same with Jalen Reagor. But again, I'm going to keep saying it. It's against the Falcons defense, so I'm not really going to take too much from this Eagles win, just because obviously it's against the Falcons defense. But the Falcons played not good at all. I mean, their defense is trash. Their offense is trash. They're going nowhere this season, and Kyle Pitts is finally going to realize what it's going to be like on a losing team. and the Eagles are probably not going to be going too far either. So just two garbage teams with one being far better than the other.
Now moving on to the game that surprised me the most, man. And speaking of people who are going to get to be used to be on losing teams, the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, absolutely sold the bag. I thought they were going to win. I don't know how the Texans dropped 37, but shout out to Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor. Mark Ingram actually just did his thing.
Yeah, Ingram had a big game.
He had a huge game. And then for Trevor Lawrence, I mean, you can't really blame the guy. It was his first game. He played all right. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That's not the best, but yeah, I mean, DJ Chark touchdown, Marvin Jones touchdown, but I expected a lot better from James Robinson. I really did, but it just looks like the Jaguars are going to be a passing team. I don't think they're going to run the ball at all. So, whoever has James Robinson in fantasy, it's going to be disappointing because I don't think the Jaguars will be a running team this season, just based off how they played, especially in preseason and in this first game. So, disappointed in the Jaguars, but they sucked. But I didn't expect them to suck more than the Texans.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of this game. I was kind of surprised. I was like, Texans off to a 7-0 lead. Oh, now it's 10-0. Oh, now it's 17-0. Oh, it's 24-7. Oh, it's 31-7. I was very surprised. I didn't expect this. We all picked the Jaguars. I thought this was I'm not even gonna lie. I thought this was the lock of the week. There was no way. I thought this Texans team was gonna win a game all season. Very surprised. But shout out to Tyrod Taylor. He played a very good game. And I would say I'm just very surprised. I expected more from Trevor Lawrence. I thought this Texans defense was not good at all. And he couldn't pick them apart until garbage time, of course. And if I'm being honest, I think this Jags team, if they don't fix things in their secondary was awful. Just straight up awful. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't guard anybody. Brandon Cooks had a field day. Jags might be in trouble, and they might be passing all year, like you said, Suhas, because they might be down in games, and Trevor Lawrence is going to have to chuck the ball 50 times, maybe a game, 40, 50 times. James Robinson's not going to be getting too many touches either, I feel. They didn't even play him that much. In fact, it was a 50-50 split between Carlos Hyde, of all people. And I was kind of surprised. I thought James Robinson was going to get more touches than normal. But big win for the Texans. And surprisingly, they lead the AFC South. What a wonder. Yeah, very shocked though. But I expected more from the Jaguars. Utter disappointment.
Yeah, I mean, just terrible performance from the Jag. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, obviously, first game in the NFL. It's not like the Jaguars are expected to go far this season, so it's fine. He threw 51 times, which is a lot, but speaking of the guy who made him throw 51 yards, Urban Meyer, reportedly considering resigning as the head coach of the Jaguars, saying his heart's just not into it. I don't know if that's even true, but now USC just fired their head coach after they fired Clay Helton. So, I mean, there's a ton of rumors going around, so I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't know. Tyrod Taylor had a great game after getting turned down from the Jaguars. No, not the Jaguars. The Chargers. I'm blanking. Chargers, Broncos, and then also the Browns, I think, too. But I mean, it wasn't really turned down from the Chargers. The doctor completely ruined him. But making his comeback here with Houston, as he played great. Mark Ingram had a great game. Same with Brandon Cooks, 5 receptions for 132 yards. So he played great. Danny Amendola had a touchdown after, I think, playing a couple months in the National Lacrosse League. So, but this was just a crazy, surprising game from the Texans and the Jaguars. I don't expect Jacksonville to go anywhere this season, but just considering they were the heavy favorites, just kind of surprising that they got basically blown out.
Next game, another surprise in my opinion, Steelers-Bills. And, as much as we can talk about the scoreline, this was all about the Steelers' defense just locking down on a lot of key players for the Bills. not gonna lie, I might be biased, but Gabe had only 2 receptions, and he had 40 yards in those 2 receptions. So there's no way that Dawson Knox and Emmanuel Sanders should be getting more than that, especially when he had the only touchdown of the game for them. Um, only receiving touchdown. My bad, only receiving touchdown. But actually no, only touchdown. I'm tripping. Yeah, only touchdown. But Steelers did pretty well, man. Their defense got me like a ton of points in fantasy. Like they did amazing. Like Devin Bush came back, Minka, you know, like James Pierre, Cameron Sutton, they did their thing. Najee had a nice game. Receiving was pretty balanced between Juju, Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Big Ben. Didn't have a crazy game, but he did what he needed to do. It was their defense that carried. But I think the Bills will come back from this.
I'm gonna be honest. So I was at a restaurant while watching this game. So like I was at a bar. They had all the games on TV, and surprisingly, half of the bar was Steelers fans. And every time the Steelers would make a play, you would hear this scream from like the corner of the restaurant, and it was just going crazy because for the first 3 quarters of this game, the Bills looked like they could run away with this game. And the Steelers defense just kept on fighting. And they finally clicked on offense. Deontay Johnson got a huge touchdown in the back of the end zone. And then the blocked punt, which I didn't even expect. I was surprised. I heard this, like, I was watching the Panthers game, and I heard this yelling from the corner. And I looked on TV, and they blocked the punt. I was like, oh my Lord. I didn't expect this at all. I expected a defensive game, but I expected Josh Allen to play way better. I didn't expect this. They got stymied. TJ Watt was all over the place. They had Josh Allen scrambling for his life at times. Big win for the Steelers, though. And to me, they kind of just they just kind of proved that they're one of the elite teams in the AFC. There's no doubt in my mind this team will be fighting for a playoff spot. And speaking of which, that division is stacked. Like they probably could have had all 4 teams win this weekend. And the Steelers are just proving why they deserve to be at the top of the AFC. But I do expect the Bills to bounce back. I don't know who they play next week, but I expect a smackdown, absolute smackdown, because I feel like the Bills will come ready to play after an embarrassment. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was just a terrible game from the Bills. And with me saying that the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl and Josh Allen getting MVP, not off to a great start, because week 1's definitely that week to show everybody that you're the guy that should be winning this award. And Josh Allen with 30 completions, still 270 and a touchdown, but he threw 30 completions, but he threw 51 passes, which is just pretty insane. He was almost the leading rusher. I mean, not really almost, but Singletary was the main rusher. I think Zach Moss was out today, so it was pretty obvious he was going to be that RB1 in the backfield. Stephon Diggs played well. Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders, Gabe Davis, but I really kind of expect them to play well. They're all basically 10 of their points was from I'm trying to remember his kicker's name quickly. Tyler Bass. 10 of their points was from Tyler Bass, and the touchdown was from Gabe Davis, who only had 2 receptions, one of them being a 37-yard gain. But the Steelers, on their part, they played great. Big Ben played pretty nice. Najee Harris played a bit worse than I expected, but that three-headed receiving monster of Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool, and Deontay Johnson, even James Washington in there, but I'm pretty sure he requested a trade, so I don't really know the whole situation with that. But they all had 12 of the 18 completions from Big Ben. So the Steelers team, I mean, who knows? Maybe they could make a run for the playoffs, but Bills coming off the loss, coming down to South Beach next week with the Dolphins coming off the wins. I mean, I'm saying if we can get that win, we're in such a good position. But yeah, I think the Bills just definitely could have won that game, and they're not off to a great start with the season. Even Josh Allen with his campaign for MVP.
All right, next game, Cardinals versus Titans, and Man, we're talking about MVP candidates. Kyler Murray's on that list for sure. Like, I don't know how good their team will be, but I like their team a lot. I really like the Cardinals. I think they're a very good running back away from like being Super Bowl contenders, in my opinion. I like their receiving core. I love their defense. Isaiah Simmons, Chandler Jones had 5 sacks. That's incredible. Buda Baker, Byron Murphy, like their defense is nice in my opinion. J.J. Watt, I don't even mention J.J. Watt. Um, on offense, like their receivers, DeAndre Hopkins, Rondell Moore had himself a nice game, rookie. Christian Kirk, AJ Green, like really, really nice receiving core. Running back is a little bit shaky. You know, Chase Edmonds is cool, but he's not all that. Same with James Conner. But Kyler Murray, man, some of the throws he was making were absolutely ridiculous. Like off of one leg, like just fade away, those throws were insane. Like he reminds me of a mini Russell Wilson. That's what he reminds me of. Like he just plays so similar. And I did not expect them to win this game, but they absolutely blew them out. Titans disappointing again. You know, Derrick Henry did not have himself, you know, a game that I was expecting him to. And AJ and Julio weren't even the best receivers on their team. It was Chester Rogers. So that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, I kind of slept on this Cardinals team. I said what did I say about the Cardinals during our predictions? I said they were an inconsistent team. I might have to take that back. And they shocked me. I didn't expect this out of them. They played such a good game. Not only offensively, defensively as well. Chandler Jones was just a monster. He would just wreck, and like Taylor Lewan didn't stand a chance all day long. He was just getting blown by Chandler Jones. And DeAndre Hopkins, man, again proving himself why he's arguably the best receiver in the league. Just another surprise, in my opinion. I didn't expect the Titans to play this way. And just another reason why I don't think Derrick Henry is the best running back in this league. Because some days he's just not there. When you stack the box against Derrick Henry and you take a lead against this Titans team, he's ineffective. He's not there for your team. But A.J. Brown, I expected more. I thought they were going to come out and fire on all cylinders. They looked so bad to start the game. Just a disappointment again. And with they gotta bounce back next week, and I expect to bounce back. Derrick Henry will probably have another 100-yard game next week, in my opinion. But they just didn't look good at all. And as for the Cardinals, they might win this division, the NFC West. Even if it's a stacked division, I wouldn't be surprised if they won that division because very, very good team on offense and a solid team on defense.
Yeah, no, it was just a hold on, I'm trying. Oh yeah, so I was the only one that actually thought that the Cardinals would win this game. Proud to say that. I know I told y'all that the Titans just have a terrible defense, and Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins are gonna cook all over them all day. And the Titans did have one interception, but forget about that. Kyler Murray, 21 for 32, nearly 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. D-Hop went off with also 2 touchdowns. Christian Kirk, who's a main target for Murray this season, with 5 receptions for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, the Cardinals are doing great this season. Tannehill had an okay game, but not too great. Derrick Henry didn't do much. A.J. Brown didn't do much, neither did Julio. And Chester Rogers, I swear I've never even heard of this dude. I'm gonna probably hear more, but Chester Rogers, I don't even know who that is. So that's definitely
he played on the Colts last season.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know who he is. That tells you that the Titans just did not play good. The receivers didn't play good. Tannehill didn't play good, and Derrick Henry didn't play good. Chase Edmonds and James Conner. To me, this kind of shows that even just this small, they don't have a star running back one, but the core of those 2 guys, and even with a running quarterback in Kyler Murray, that'll show you that this team is capable of at least winning a couple games with just a star quarterback and wide receiver core plus a decent running back core that'll win you some games with a top tier defense. I didn't even mention Chandler Jones and just all those defensive guys, Buda Baker with J.J. Watt, 2 on that D line. They're going to be so good this season.
Isaiah Simmons.
Isaiah Simmons and also Zaven Collins. I did expect Isaiah Simmons to have a leap this season, especially after not playing well last season. And they took Zaven Collins, another linebacker, with their first round pick. So I think the Cardinals are going to be great this season, and I do have them making the playoffs.
All right, next game, man. Minnesota Vikings versus. Oh, actually, before we get into it, some breaking news right here. I'm just looking up Twitter right now. Ron Rivera would like a reunion with Cam Newton.
See, I told you. I literally said it this morning, bruh. I literally said it this morning that Cam Newton was gonna probably sign with Washington.
No, where are you seeing that?
It's
probably true, though. It's
Taylor,
probably
yeah,
true.
yeah, some, yeah. I have this person on notifications. She's pretty good, but,
Oh,
yeah. Oh yeah, Vikings and Bengals. Sorry, Vikings and Bengals. Great game from the Bengals, man. Joe Burrow did what Joe Burrow does all the time, or not what he does all the time, but what I think he's gonna do all the time. Kirk Cousins had himself a really nice game, but Dalvin Cook let him down. Sorry to say it, Dalvin Cook and the defense let him down. Dalvin Cook did not have a good game, but I expect him to bounce back. Jamar Chase proving the doubters wrong, but yep, Bengals got the W.
Again, another surprising game this weekend. I expected much more from the Minnesota Vikings, and they did this last year too. They screwed up week 1 and week 2, and they just botched their season. I feel like it might happen again. A game they should have won easily. People had this team as a playoff team, and they just blew it this week. Like the Bengals, Jesse Bates was playing too. I was kind of surprised. I thought he was going to play. He played, and that kind of gave the Bengals a spurt they needed. They played very well. They stymied that Vikings offense until the fourth quarter, and I'm glad for Joe Burrow, man. And Jamar Chase proving the doubters wrong. He had a very good game. This is why you never overreact to preseason ever. But big game for Chase, big game for that Bengals offense. I didn't expect it at all. Good game for the Bengals, and again, that AFC North, they could have easily had all 4 teams win this weekend, and we'll get to that later game. But that division's looking a little scary, I'm not going to lie. And as for the NFC North, all 4 teams lost this weekend. Kind of a shocker. We'll get to the other 2 teams later, but Minnesota, again, like a team with Dalvin Cook, Thielen, Cousins, and Jefferson, and you couldn't torch that Bengals defense. That's what confuses me. And even in overtime, I don't care about that controversial call. I thought Dalvin Cook fumbled it. You can argue with me. I thought he fumbled it, but in my opinion, this team, I don't expect them to see them in the playoffs. I'm going to be totally honest. With inconsistent Kirk Cousins, they had to fix shit immediately, or they might be down that downward spiral that they had last season. So we'll see, but just a disappointing game for Minnesota, and some hope for the Bengals fans who thought they might be in the bottom 10 this year, but big win for them.
Another update: some concerns over Cam Newton's unvaccinated status might not bring him to Washington.
well, you see what I just sent in the chat? Apparently, Ron Rivera makes clear Washington isn't looking to bring in any other QBs.
Yeah, he wanted. Apparently, he was interested in Cam Newton, but Cam Newton's unvaccinated. So he does not want to bring Cam Newton.
Yeah. But yeah, a huge win for the Bengals in this one for sure. Definitely their first one of the first game of the season, first one of the season for them. Vikings should have won this though. They definitely could have won this. I think they had did they have 2 drives to win this game? I think they did, or at least to score, and I think that they weren't able to. Kirk Cousins really didn't play bad. I want to say 36 for 49, over 350 yards and 2 touchdowns. So definitely not bad. Dalvin Cook definitely could have been better for this Vikings team. Thielen played okay. KJ Osborne played better than Justin Jefferson, which kind of says something for who supposedly, a top 10 receiver. So he's going to have to step up for this team. But on to the Bengals side though. Joe Burrow played great, 20 for 27 with 261 yards and 2 touchdowns. He looks like that torn ACL is not doing him any harm in his sophomore season. Joe Mixon played great, less than 30 carries with 127 yards and a touchdown. And then T. Higgins with a touchdown, 58 yards. Tyler Boyd had 32 yards, so they played pretty good. And the CJ Uzoma had 35 yards, over 2 receptions, so good game by the Bengals receiving core there. But credit to their kicker, sending them into overtime in a tie game, and then also winning the game for them. Or no, sorry, that was the Vikings kicker that sent it into overtime. But they were able to the Bengals kicker got them into the game-winning territory in that very late in the overtime series. I think very at the buzzer, but a crazy game. Honestly, went to overtime. Probably the closest game of that in week 1, and I didn't really expect the Bengals to even get this close with the Vikings, but credits to them on winning this game versus a pretty tough defense.
Next game, Browns versus Chiefs. I had the Browns winning. I really hope the Browns won. If they had a competent QB, they might have won, but unfortunately, they have Baker Mayfield on their team. I really thought they did everything else they were supposed to do, though. Like, running game was pretty solid. I thought Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb had some good touchdowns, rushing touchdowns. Even Jarvis Landry had a rushing touchdown. Receivers, OBJ did not play. And who knows, if he played, they might have won, but we don't know that. I expected Myles Garrett to have a better defensive game. He had 1 sack. That's about it. The Chiefs O-line did not impress me again. Clyde Edwards-Helaire showing me again why I was not high on him in fantasy. I don't think the season will be as good as what a lot of people think it will be. But Tyreek Hill, man. Tyreek Hill had himself a game. 197 yards, 11 receptions, 1 touchdown. At one point, Patrick Mahomes was just throwing it random places and hoping for Tyreek Hill to catch it, because that's how hot that guy was. He was just getting everything. So Tyreek Hill won them that game. Patrick Mahomes had a nice game too, though, but Tyreek Hill really, really did his thing.
Yeah, again, I was very impressed by this Browns team. I thought they could have won this game. I picked the Chiefs though because they're the Chiefs, and the thing about when you play the Chiefs is you cannot make mistakes. You have to be perfect to beat this Chiefs team. And unfortunately, the Browns were not perfect. That botched punt in the fourth quarter cost them the game. It did. Literally cost them the game. They could have won that game easily. They had the Kansas City Chiefs on their knees from up until the fourth quarter. In the second half, they were up 22-10, bro. They could have put this game away, and they just let Mahomes stay in the game, and that's something you cannot do against the Chiefs. And the Browns played well, and I expect to see them in the playoffs. But to beat the Chiefs, you have to be perfect, and they just weren't perfect today. As for the Chiefs, I mean, what else do you expect from them? This is exactly what you expect. A terrific offensive game. They didn't even have the Honey Badger playing today. Yesterday. Big game from them. Again, do you expect anything less from the Chiefs? No. Good game from them, and I'm very impressed with the Browns, even though they lost.
Yeah, obviously the game of the week. I mean, before going into week 1, it was looking like it would be the game of the week, but for some reason they actually televised the Steelers and Bills game over this. I mean the Packers and Saints. So I didn't really get that, but obviously still 2 great teams here. Baker Mayfield did play pretty nice. He didn't throw a single touchdown. Actually, Nick Chubb ran for 2. Kareem Hunt ran for 1, and then
he threw for a touchdown.
I don't think it doesn't say he
did.
No,
Baker threw for a touchdown. To Landry, I think, of all people.
It says Landry ran it.
Landry had a rushing touchdown.
Yeah. It says he had a rushing touchdown. So
no, but I thought Baker threw one, if I'm not mistaken.
It was 2 to Chubb, 1 to Kareem
Hunt,
and then
one to Landry.
with-
David Njoku had 76 with no touchdowns. Jarvis Landry had
Oh.
71 with a rushing touchdown.
Oh, interesting. I thought Baker had a touchdown. My bad.
Yeah. Well, it may have technically been a throwing one, but if it was a backwards pass, I think it would have been a rushing for Landry. But either way, a good game on both ends of the ball. I mean, Patrick Mahomes. What else do you expect him to do? 27 out of 36, 3 touchdowns, 337 yards. He was just absolutely insane. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, probably the running back one, the only running back one in Kansas City. Obviously, he played decent, but obviously we're not going to be seeing too many runs from this team. Only throwing, just so many weapons on this team. 11 receptions for almost 200 yards and a touchdown for Tyreek Hill. Kelsey picking up just where he left off last season with 76 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the Chiefs are just so good. The Browns definitely had the chance to come back in this game, or not even come back, to literally win this game just in general. Because I think, hold up, I'm trying to see here. Yeah, the Browns got the ball with 2 minutes and 49 seconds left, and they had the ball at their what? At their 20-yard line.
They got the ball to midfield, but go ahead, Hudson.
Oh yeah. Actually, yeah, they got it back. They got it all the way to their 48-yard line, and then Baker threw a terrible pass that was intercepted by Mike Hughes. So just not a great throw there to end the game for Mayfield and the Browns. But in the end, they're expected to win the NFC North, and even like included with this loss, many people had them losing this game. So I think next week they play against the Texans, so it should be a complete blowout for them. At least it should be. But they played well against the Super Bowl contenders, obviously, in Kansas City. So I expect them to easily win next week and get back on pace to where they left off last season.
I do want to make one point. I think Baker was trying to throw that ball away on the interception. I think if you watch the play closely, Sorensen hit his leg as he was trying to throw it away, and it kind of went straight to Mike Hughes. And that's how the interception happened. I thought he was. It looked clear to me he was trying to throw it away.
If that looked like a throwaway, then that Tua interception. I mean, we'll talk about it in a second probably, but that Tua interception, that was an attempted throwaway. That was tipped up millions of times and just an unlucky.
No, that one was not a throwaway. He
that one was a throwaway.
Wait. Let me just. That was gonna be the game. Let me just tell the score and stuff. You guys can talk about that. Dolphins won by 1 point. Tua had 202 yards, touchdown, interception. Gaskin ran for 49 rushing yards. Everyone's talking about Jalen Waddle this, Jalen Waddle that, but I've always been a big fan of Devontae Parker, and again, he proved me why. I thought he played amazingly. He didn't score a touchdown, but I thought he played really well. Now, on the Patriots side, Mac Jones was the best QB on the field. He played really well. I thought Damian Harris did well. There was this one key fumble, but apart from that, I thought he had a lot of, rushing yards that helped them. Nelson Aguilar was at one point, uncoverable, they could not stop him. But apart from that, they did not get much help from their other receivers. Hunter Henry disappointed me. Jacoby Myers disappointed me. James White, bro. James White is not even a receiver. How the hell is he your, second most receiving yards person on your team? That is embarrassing. I know dump offs, but
a bunch of dump offs.
But that still should tell you Jacoby Myers should be getting more than 44 yards. Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Kendrick Bourne, these guys disappointed me. But yeah, good game from the Dolphins, and they held this Patriots offense to 16 points.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. I thought the Patriots were heading downfield to win the game, and then Damian Harris just lost the ball.
No, he didn't. He didn't just lose the ball.
He didn't just lose it. Yes, I know.
It was Xavier Howard coming in.
Xavier Howard poked the ball out, and unfortunately, Damian Harris lost the ball, and that was pretty much the game. But that ball that Tua threw, Hudson, I know exactly what you're talking about. Here's what happened. He was scrambling to the outside, but when you scramble to the outside and you're throwing it away, you don't throw it at in a direct line at the sideline. You would throw it more towards the bench if that was throwing it away. he was not trying to throw that ball away. He was trying to throw it in bounds and make a play. And
Even if
it
it
got
wasn't, I
intercepted.
feel like that could have easily been caught by Jasicki. If you look back at that,
No, just stop. That is not even close to what Baker was trying to. Baker was actually trying to throw the ball out of bounds, but Sorensen hit his leg, so he didn't get all the throwing power on it, and that's why it got
Tua
picked
was
up.
all-
Okay,
Tua was also really
I'm watching it right now because I didn't watch it. I didn't
Tua
watch
was
this game, but when I'm
I
seeing it
was
right
he was
now,
he was like running
no, I can
he was
see
like
why.
running backward.
I can see why you think he was trying to throw it away because he was like under pressure. He was about to get like sacked if he didn't throw it.
Yeah, no, he was about to get.
But he wasn't
Yeah.
throwing to the he wasn't throwing it away. He was trying to throw to someone is what I think.
Well, he was.
Yeah,
It looked
exactly.
like
That
he was
was
like.
not a throw.
If I remember correctly, he was like he like juked the defender out one way and then like went the other. He was like running right, and remember he's a lefty, so he threw like with like like facing like if that makes any
He
sense,
did,
like
yeah, he did,
like
he
not
did,
like
he did.
comfortably. It was like
But
an uncomfortable throw.
if he didn't juke, the whoever 58 on the Dolphins had already laid that guy out. So if he just continued going to his strong direction, then he would have been able to throw it fine. But I don't think that was a throwaway. I don't know who
No, I don't
58
think
is
so
on the
either.
Dolphins, but
I think
58.
it's Scarlet. I don't know. I could be wrong.
58. Who the fuck is 58? Oh, I'm
Dolphins
looking at
roster.
defense. I'm stupid.
Anyways, I guess I'll continue. Mac Jones played really well in my opinion. He was the best quarterback on the field. And you know what? I'm gonna give Tua a little bit of props. I'm gonna give Tua a little bit of props. He
damn
played a
time.
solid game in my opinion, except for that one throw. But very close game. And you know what? The Dolphins got the better of this one. They have the tiebreaker on New England. But let me tell you something else, man. They need to keep racking up these close wins, and if they can do that, they'll be a playoff team. But I don't think they can because this is one game from Tua, and I don't think he can keep this consistency up. It's week one, but we'll see. But Tua had a solid game in my opinion, except for the interception. Go ahead, Hudson.
Yeah, I was surprisingly the only person who took the Dolphins this week. I don't know how I warned you guys, but it's whatever. Miles
Dude,
Gaskin
if
played.
Damian Harris didn't put the ball on the ground, the Patriots were gonna win.
Maybe they would have, but that's not how the game turned out.
It was Robert Hunt, bro. I googled it.
Oh, Robert. Yeah, that's our O lineman. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Continue.
Gaskin, I think, is in. I want to say underrated, but I feel like that might be a bit of a stretch. But I feel like he definitely is. I don't want to say like the most underrated running back, but I feel like underrated as our running back one because people look at our running backs and they say, oh, these guys have Miles Gaskin, Malcolm Brown, and Salvin Ahmed as their top three running backs. Like, there's no way. But like, I feel like that core, like same thing that I said with Arizona, James Conner and who's the other running back? Edmonds,
For the
Chase
Cardinals?
Edmonds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cardinals.
Chase Edmonds. Yeah, Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, Chase Edmonds. Like, they don't have a star running back one, but they have that core that'll carry them at least. And we have a decent O-line. I think that'll be at least playoff contention good enough. Receivers, like I said, Devontae Parker played well. Jalen Waddle, everybody's talking about him because he had that touchdown, obviously, too. But to be honest, I'm kind of upset that we didn't include. I mean, I'm really surprised we won this game, especially looking at the stat line with Jasicki. We threw 2 passes to him, but he didn't even have a single reception. So imagine if we start throwing to Jasicki more and he gets that ball, but he was just running around for a full hour. I mean, not for you know what I mean. He was out there on that football field running around, and he didn't even touch the football once, at least on the field when it actually mattered. So pretty surprising there. Mac Jones, I will say, looks like a stud. He looks like a veteran. He looks so comfortable, so confident in that pocket that he just looks like he's a veteran in this league. And if you told me he was a rookie without even knowing, I wouldn't believe you. He played great though. Huge props to him. I think he's going to be this new Patriots franchise quarterback. But still really, really hoping that the Dolphins can go contend for the playoffs. But we're coming off this win, going into week 2. The Bills are coming off that loss. heading down to South Beach for our home opener. I'm going to be there for sure. And I'm going to be excited for that one. Hard Rock Stadium is going to be rocking.
Okay, yeah. Next game is going to be. I'm pretty sure. Okay, yeah, we covered this game. Okay, yeah. Next game is going to be between the Broncos and the Giants. I'm surprised we haven't even talked about this game. Broncos and Giants. Surprised by the Broncos, man. I thought Saquon was gonna do. I mean, surprised by the Giants. I thought Saquon was gonna do a lot more than fucking 26 yards, but I think that's the reason they lost this game is because Saquon didn't show up. But he is coming off an injury, so we gotta cut him some slack. Melvin Gordon, I thought played amazingly well. Jerry Judy's out for 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks, I think.
4 to
With
6 weeks.
ankle
It's 4 to
sprain.
6.
Yeah.
I just saw 6. I didn't know like.
Whoa. Waddle got rocked.
But yeah, Sterling
Waller.
Shepard played pretty well, and that's about it. And the Broncos just did their thing. Teddy showing why the Panthers shouldn't have let him go.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Okay.
I mean, he played better than the Panthers.
You know what? Teddy played well enough to win the game
Because
because
against the Giants.
against the Giants. The Giants are a hot mess.
Hey, but
They're ass. I don't expect anything.
Darnold was against the Jets.
That's true.
Okay, fine. But the Jets are better than the Giants. The Giants' offense is literally non-existent.
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect from the Giants? I expect absolute putrid shit from them. And that's exactly what I should.
I think their defense.
Daniel Jones is a hack, bro. I'll take Zach Wilson over Daniel Jones any day of the week.
Daniel Jones had more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley, so
That's a problem. And when Kenny Golladay doesn't get the ball, that's also a problem. When you pay him $17.6 million a year and he gets the ball 4 times, that's not good. This Giants team looked atrocious. I watched a little bit of this game and I immediately switched to the Chiefs-Browns game because I was so pissed off that this Giants team couldn't do jack shit. I'm pretty sure I picked the Broncos because I knew Teddy Bridgewater was going to do just enough to win this game. But I'm just pissed off, man. I expected a little bit more from this Giants team. They looked atrocious, and I still don't see how people call this team a playoff team. The Giants, they are not good in my opinion, and they shouldn't be good for the next few weeks either. With Saquon looking like that, I agreed it's sort of the first game off of injury, but this team is an utter embarrassment. As for Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos, don't expect this on a regular basis. I promise you Teddy Bridgewater will come back to normal within the next few weeks. He'll start throwing interceptions all over the place because that's who he is. He's ass. I don't expect anything else from the Broncos. The Broncos defense is good, and Teddy Bridgewater is not good. End of story. Go ahead, Hudson.
yeah, this game was it kind of went the way I expected. Basically, Broncos blowout. I'm gonna still say, I mean, after this game, not too sure, but I really wanted to see Drew Lock play this game. But it's whatever. They brought in Teddy Bridgewater. No point of trading for him. A very, very valuable 6th-round pick or 7th-round pick gone to waste for nothing. So they did put Teddy Bridgewater in that starting lineup. Vic Fangio starting out 1-0, although I think he still will be on the hot seat because next week they play give me a second. They play the Jaguars. So based off of how Jacksonville played this week, I think the Broncos should be able to win that, but who knows? I think it's pretty obvious that they will not be able to get past the Chiefs. And another overreaction for this week is that the Broncos get past the Chargers led by Teddy Bridgewater and go second in the AFC West with a playoff record. And obviously that's another hot take, but who knows? It's very much overreaction for this week. But I really kind of expected this game to go exactly how it is. Like you said, it's a very big problem if this dude Daniel Jones has more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley. And obviously Daniel Jones being a bottom tier quarterback in the NFL, having more yards than supposedly a top 3 running back in the league, Saquon Barkley, is going to be a bit of an issue, especially if you want to make some people think that you're actually a playoff team. So it sucks that Jerry Judy's out for the next couple weeks, but I think the Broncos are going to have to do without him, especially Courtland Sutton. This team can't really stay fully healthy. Courtland Sutton played not too great at all, but KJ Hamler and Noah Fant fans, whatever, are going to have to lead this team to a couple wins until they come back.
I don't know. NFL Twitter is saying that Teddy Bridgewater was bad because of the Panthers coaching. But next game is going to be between the Packers and the Saints. Hey, Jameis Winston. I told you guys, man. Jameis Winston is going to have a comeback season. You can call me, reactionary, whatever. I said this like even before they played this game. I thought I was buying high on Jameis Winston. I don't think the Saints are as bad as what people like make them think. Like they just beat the Packers, who are like a very good team. They absolutely like smothered Aaron Rodgers. Like the Packers sucked. Like I don't even have to say anything about the Packers. Like fuck the Packers. You already know. Like fuck the Packers. Lions till I die. Fuck the Packers. But Alvin Kamara did his thing. Jameis Winston did his thing. 5 touchdowns. And yeah, shout out to the Saints.
I'm utterly disappointed by the Green Bay Packers. I expected way better from them. I was extremely pissed. I guess you can sense my frustrations as a Panthers fan. I was extremely pissed off because I expected the Saints to lose this game. I expected them to get blown out. What did I say? 17 points? I was heated because Aaron Rodgers looked like he wanted to retire. Aaron Rodgers looked like he didn't want to play another game of football. I was pissed. Jameis Winston played solid enough.
Jacobs. Sorry. Josh Jacobs.
Yes, Josh Jacobs just scored.
This game's
surprisingly, and the Raiders are tied. But anyways, I was very surprised. I didn't expect the Packers to get blown out like this. As for the Saints, don't expect this on another basis. Do not expect Winston to throw for 5 touchdowns. They will get a reality check next week when they play that Panthers defense and Brian Burns literally strangles Jameis Winston. And as for the Packers, I expect them to bounce back, but don't expect anything else from the New Orleans Saints. Good win for them, but they will still get a reality check next week. I promise you.
Yeah, the Saints definitely. They play just crazy good. Proved to everybody that I don't even know what to say, honestly. I mean, the Saints just completely okay. I'm looking at the score because I'm not really thinking about watching this game. I'm thinking Packers blow it easily because this was the same time as the Dolphins game. So obviously, I'm not thinking about any other game at all, except maybe for the Chiefs and Browns. But I mean, I see that the Saints are leading 3-0 after the first quarter. I'm thinking, wow, there's no way that Green Bay is actually losing to this team. And then they're up, and then they're down 17-3 at the half, and then they're down 24-3, and then I'm just thinking, wow, like this, like Aaron Rodgers is about to pull a, what's his name? Is it Dante Hall? Who's the Bills player that retired? Who's the Bills player that retired at halftime? Trying to remember his name. Don't you remember that?
Who?
The Bills player that retired at halftime against the Colts.
Oh, Vontae Davis?
Vontae Davis, yeah. It looks like Aaron Rodgers wanted to do something like that. 2 interceptions, and 0 touchdowns, obviously. Aaron Jones played absolutely awful. Devontae Adams played awful. I mean, he played decent, but still awful. And the best fantasy player on this team was Amari Rodgers, who had 1 reception for 19 yards. And he had like 3 fantasy points. Aaron Rodgers had like 1 fantasy point. I was debating on taking him or Russell Wilson, and I'm lucky I took Russ. But Jameis Winston, speaking of talking about quarterbacks in general, Jameis Winston making a case for himself. 14 for 25 touchdowns, although I thought it was 4, but I guess now I'm being mistaken. It's 5. And Kamara played decently well, but it's looking like Kamara is not going to be that number 1 running back. I mean, he will obviously be in New Orleans, but he's not going to be as good as people thought this season because obviously after this game, Sean Payton's going to be like, yeah, like Jameis Winston is now our guy for this season, but who knows? I mean, it's going to be crazy to see. I mean, the leading receiver wasn't even anybody too crazy. Deontay Harris was 2 for 72. Jawan Johnson, 3 and 21. Marcus Callaway only had 1 reception for 14 yards. So it wasn't really any like star player. It was just spread all throughout. So great job by Jameis Winston leading this team to victory. But I think that moving on to our second to last game here.
I just want to say one more thing. I expect Aaron Rodgers to throw for at least 4 to 5 touchdowns against the Lions. If the Lions defense is as bad as it was on Sunday, expect Aaron Rodgers to play well. But yeah, we can move on to the next game. Bears Rams. In what was a oddly contested game, in my opinion. We knew the Rams were going to win, but the Bears kept it close for a little while. It was like 14-20. But just in my opinion, the Bears, until they put Justin Fields in, they will not be that good of a football team. Andy Dalton is not going to take them that far. The Rams, they showed how dominant they were. Matthew Stafford and that offense looked spectacular. I expect nothing less. Cooper Kupp had a monster game. Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey were just all over the place. Just all over the place. Really good game from the Rams. And I expect the Rams to be in this Super Bowl contention list for a long time this season. The Bears, they got to fix stuff. I expect Fields to start by like week 4 or 5, in my opinion. We'll see, though. But yeah, that's all I got to say about this game. Go ahead, Hudson.
Yeah, it was a very fun game, obviously, Stafford with his new team. And it showed that trading Goff and those 2 first-round picks were definitely worth it to get Stafford. Played great, over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns with, I think, one of the first couple of plays in the game being Cooper Kupp on a nearly 60-yard touchdown. I think even more than that. I think nearly
No, it was Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It was Van Jefferson on that 67-yard touchdown.
He did it Cooper Kupp, though, for 60 yards. Cooper Kupp was wide open.
It was Van Jefferson on that nice throw in the first couple plays, and then the second drive or third drive was Cooper Kupp for that 56-yard touchdown. But Kupp had a game over 100 yards and a touchdown. Same with Jefferson, 2 for 80 with a touchdown. And then Robert Woods, obviously, 3 and 27 for a touchdown. Then you have Tyler Higbee, Deshaun Jackson, while Darrell Henderson in that backfield. So it's going to be a fun season for the Rams. I have them easily win. I mean, I don't say easily at all. I have them winning the NFC West and also the NFC in general. I have them going all the way to the Super Bowl, coming up just short against Buffalo. But I would not be surprised if they went all the way and took it home for the Rams. But like you said, I do also expect Fields to come in around week 4 or 5 when Dalton starts to struggle. But Marquise Goodwin, I realized was with the Bears during the middle of this game, and he played decent. He was the leading receiver for Chicago, but definitely not the best game to start out with for the Bears. But in the end, I kind of expected the Rams to come away with the win here.
And finally, we have the last game, which we just finished watching. This Ravens-Raiders classic Monday night game to start out the year. Unbelievable finish. Raiders pull off the upset on a game-winning touchdown, and wow, what a game, bro. Just crazy ending. Raiders could have won the game, and then goal line stand interception. Lamar chokes, fumbles the ball, and then Zay Jones wide open down the middle of the field. I thought they were going to go for the field goal. Crazy shit, bro. What a game. Great game for the Raiders. But terrible loss for the Ravens.
Yeah, I feel like the Ravens, I mean, it's not like they necessarily needed this game, but in most of their record predictions that people made for them, they obviously had them winning this game on primetime. So it's not like this was just one of those random Sunday NFL games. Everybody basically in the NFL world was watching this game because it's week 1. I mean, you're going to have the most people watching these games, especially this week. So I feel like just a terrible loss for the Ravens there, and just huge kudos to the Raiders being able to, first of all, keep up with the Ravens all game, defensively and offensively, and then being able to take them to overtime. Carr being able to lead the Raiders down the field with 40 seconds to go in that fourth quarter with like no timeouts or anything, and being able to kick a field goal, 50-something, I think 50, what was it, like a 50-yard field goal or something?
53-yard, it was a 55-yard field goal.
Yeah, so Carl Lawson, I think his name is the kicker. Credits to him, sending them to overtime.
Daniel Carlson.
Daniel Carlson. Yeah. But just huge credits to him for sending them to overtime. And then it was just crazy. I mean, the Raiders drove down They thought they got a touchdown. They started shaking hands and stuff, and then the Ravens, and then then there was an interception. Ravens got the ball back. We thought they were going to drive down, at least kick a field goal. Any type of points would win them the game, and then Lamar Jackson fumbled the football. Raiders got it back and got that easy go-ahead touchdown for the win. Just an absolute crazy game, and instantly a classic for the season. May even go down as the best game of the season if we don't see one of these again.
I'm gonna say this is probably the game of the year, and unless we have another crazy game, this is gonna be the game of the year. This is the game of the year.
It may be, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for us. What a week! Some crazy upsets. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn on notifications. And as always, we'll see you guys on Thursday for week 2 predictions. Hopefully, it should be as good of a week as we had this week. Thank you guys. Peace.